Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mission Control webinar. We're going to be covering project and resource management today. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes for people to join. We're going to go through a couple of slides together, and then we'll jump straight into the product. If you guys have got any questions throughout, please use the chat function. Happy to jump in and answer any questions if I think they're easy to answer, and if not, if it's a little bit more complex, we can cover it in the end. So we'll wait one more second. See a couple of people flowing in. Okay, so welcome to the webinar. My name is Josh. I'm an account executive here in Australia, and I'm based in Cairns, which is far north Queensland. I've been with the Pricker now for about four and a bit months, so still quite new, but pretty much across the platform, and I've had the opportunity to work with, a whole range of new customers that we brought on board, as well as managing a list of customers as an account manager. And what we're going to go through today is mission control in detail, and hopefully we'll be able to show you something that you're interested in. So just to show you a little bit about our team, as I mentioned, I'm an account executive here in Oz, but we're a global company, and here are some of my counterparts that I work with. So Colin, who's our CEO and founder or co-founder, he founded it with one of our colleagues. Julian is another account executive who's based out of Canada. He manages the east coast of the US. Lexi, who's also an account executive, she used to be a customer success and support within the business, so she's really versatile with the platform. And then Victor, who is our professional services manager, so manages our implementation, ongoing work that we do with our customers. And then lucky last, Corey, who's our CRO, who I work very closely with as well. So got an awesome team that I work with. And yeah, we all pitch the value of mission control together. So just to cover a couple of things before we get into, I guess, the detail about mission control. We're native to Salesforce. We're a Salesforce ISV partner. We're available on the App Exchange. So I just thought it'd be important to list, I guess, like the different types of editions that we work with. So on the left-hand side, you can see that list there. Predominantly, our customers are using Enterprise as their choice of Salesforce platform, but we do work with with the other options as well. And I guess the key benefits of us being an ISV partner and being native to the Salesforce platform is we carry a lot of their functionality and their customization. So just the same as you'd be able to customize Salesforce, we can do custom fields. We can use the different logics like flows, process builder, workflow rules. We can pull reports and dashboards based on the data that we're collecting, very similar as well. So we've got, a lot of awesome functionality there. So a little bit of history about Mission Control. We're about 15 years old, and we've been on the App Exchange, the Salesforce App Exchange for just under 15 years now. We've got customers globally spread across the world, and we really started from Colin and Chris, the two co-founders, in need of a platform that was going to make their lives easier. They saw how much value it gave them, so they thought, hey, let's take it to market, and here we are today, selling it on a daily basis, and working with a lot of customers across 25 plus countries. So a lot of people ask why Mission Control. One of the biggest selling points I would say about Mission Control is that we're native to Salesforce. So one of the biggest challenges that I've been hearing since I've been working here is people are spread across multiple systems, right? We don't want to have to log into different systems. So I think being able to log into Salesforce and see Mission Control straight away is a really key feature of ours. Really, what we are is we're an extension of functionality within the Salesforce platform. From an ease of use perspective, we really like to kind of emphasize that, we work out of the box. So if you were to install the Mission Control package into your Salesforce environment, you can start using the functionality straight away, without any kind of customization. We obviously definitely tailor the platform for a lot of our customers and they tailor it to their process. But realistically, if you wanted to install it today just to test to see how to use it, you'd be able to, yeah, pretty much use it straight away. The no implementation required part is just, I guess, an extension of, me saying, we work out of the box, right? We don't necessarily have to, yeah, go through a full implementation to get up and running. It works pretty much straight away. Now, when we bring somebody on board as a new customer, as a partner, somebody that might be selling Mission Control, we recommend going through a kind of learning portal certification process to get you up to scratch with how to use on how to use Mission Control. I went through the certification process, when I got brought on as a new AE, and that's really what's brought me up to scratch in understanding how to use Mission Control in detail. So based on experiences in other companies I've worked with, I just feel like our learning content, our help content, and our certification process is honestly awesome. It's going to really, really give you, all the knowledge that you need. And I mentioned we're spread across the globe from a company perspective. So any kind of support that's needed from your end, we cover, pretty much 24/7 support, which is really helpful, yeah, for our customers. A little bit of background on us and I guess how we sort of compete or how we're weighed up against our competitors. A lot of our clients are very happy with how Mission Control works, the ease of use, and the fact that it does meet their requirements. One thing that I've noticed about working here as well is a lot of our product releases and a lot of the updates that we make to the platform is based on feedback that we've received from customers. It's probably the first company that I've worked at where we've heard customers' feedback and, a couple of days later, we're making updates to the platform. So we work really, really closely with our client base. And I think, it's really a testament to that meets requirements piece where, we're always making decisions based on the feedback that we're receiving. Of course, we have our own ideas as well, but yeah, just really want to emphasize, that your voice is it's heard. Another thing to really focus on this page is, I guess, the time that it takes to go live from an implementation perspective. 88% of our customers under 1 month, right? Really a testament to the out-of-the-box functionality. We definitely do have customers that require, maybe integrations with other systems, more custom fields, custom reports, custom dashboards, a little bit more tweaking, which generally, obviously puts a little bit more time on the rollout process. But yeah, I would say a majority of our customers are getting up and running in that 4-week process, which is awesome. Didn't want to really emphasize too much on this page, but here's a list of customers that we have across the globe. And really what I wanted to point out here is there isn't a type of, company or a specific vertical that we work with. We work with all different types of verticals, globally, which I think is fantastic. And, we're really helping their professional services teams. I wanted to highlight one customer that I work with at the moment called Brands, and they're based in New Zealand. And some really, really awesome data points here where they were able to increase their efficiency by 30%. So pretty much they were able to take on more work. So they were spread across, multiple systems. They were using spreadsheets. They wanted that one centralized, consolidated platform. And then when they started to use us, they were able to see the gaps that they had when it came to resourcing. Now that they can resource a lot better, they've been able to take on more clients, which I think is, obviously a fantastic way to get a fantastic place to get to. And yeah, some really, really good data points there. All right, so we're nearly done with the slides, and I'm going to jump into the demo of Mission Control. But what we're going to go through now is just what we call a feature wall. Now, one thing you'll notice here is there is a lot to Mission Control, which I think is really good. Not one customer uses, every single piece of the platform. Everybody uses different pieces. I've got a couple of clients that use, majority of the functionality, but really we are a end-to-end professional services project management platform. We focus on 5 kind of key pillars or kind of 5 key areas: resource management, project management, program management, collaboration, and the productivity tools. So from a resource management perspective, what we want to be able to do is differentiate between, what we charge a customer and what we pay our staff. We want to be able to assign people to the correct work based on, what their skills are, based on what their availability is, by using the scheduler. We're able to reassign work to individuals. We can also ask Mission Control to suggest individuals that it thinks is going to be the best fit for that piece of work, right? So, if I'm rostered on for next week to work for a customer, I'm fully booked. Mission Control is going to see that, and they're probably not going to suggest me for that piece of work. The other thing that we have a look at is, are people on holidays? Have they taken leave? Do we have a public holiday or a global holiday on a specific date? We're probably not going to schedule work on that day. From a project management perspective, there's a couple of ways that we can generate different projects. We can do it from scratch. We can use templates that we've created. We can do it based on the information of a Salesforce opportunity, right? Maybe we hit close one and the project gets created. So there's a lot of different ways that we can create projects. We can pull certain parts of projects, maybe it's individual tasks that we want, that we know, hey, we did this for this particular client. We want to bring that across just to speed up time. The different types of projects we manage, we're very flexible, agile, waterfall. There's no really one stringent way that you have to run it. If you want to do it a certain way, it's got the flexibility to do that. We look at some tools that we use to manage the project efficiently. So we've got a Kanban board. We have a Gantt chart, depending on the view that you want to kind of see the project in. And within those two tools, we can do things like track baselines, have we deviated from plan? Have a look at things like critical paths, set dependencies. So really, really good functionality there as well. A couple of other things, just from a management perspective, we can raise risks. They can be escalated to issues. And we can also run project retrospectives. So just to reflect on how we think, the project went. The next part, I guess, from the project management side is time tracking. So we're able to put timesheets in against different pieces of work. That's really going to assist us with our project financials. Are we running profitable? Are we losing money? Are people taking too long to finish a project? Or maybe we did a little bit faster than what we assumed. And yeah, that ties in with the financial piece. We can also do things like manage programs. So if we're looking at a very large project that's being run, maybe that's made up of individual projects, we have tools that can do things like create storyboards, have a look at analytics, get charts and whiteboards there as well. So overarching views, and any kind of requirements for, user stories or any kind of platforms that you're developing. Beauty of the integration with Salesforce, the fact that we're native to Salesforce is we utilize a lot of the Salesforce functionality. So from a collaboration perspective, Chatter is definitely utilized a lot, and it's going to be relevant to the record that you're working on. And then also, if we want to give updates to our customers, we've got things like client read-only pages, status reports that can be sent out just to give them a heads up. Hey, this is what's going well so far. Here's a progress we've made. So that's a really nice way, yeah, for a customer-facing view of what Mission Control looks like. And then just to tie it all off, from a productivity perspective, I mentioned, we've got a whiteboard or a Kanban. It's like a master Kanban view that's across everything. And there's some really nice quick action ways that, yeah, we can interact with Mission Control. Alrighty, we'll jump into the demo now. So just coming back to this, what you're looking at right now is Mission Control, and what you'll notice is it's in Salesforce. So I'm logged into my Salesforce account. The object that I've clicked on or that I'm selected on right now is a Mission Control object. And what this is called is the Mission Control console. So from here, we can do a number of things within the Mission Control platform that are all going to be related to, Salesforce and Salesforce records. So the Launchpad is the very first page that you'll see. And you can see here, I've got these two tiles, new project and clone project. So if you're creating a project from scratch, you would select the new project option. It's going to give you a complete blank canvas. And then you can start to build and structure the project from there. What we encourage, and generally what people do once they've created a couple of different project types, is create them as templates. So, instead of having to create it from scratch, I can come into here and I can have a look at, the different options or the different templates that I've got. I can select the templates, and what that's going to bring across is all the past project information, generally the structure, the different milestones, sometimes financials, any kind of like dependencies, just to speed up time. We want it to be as efficient as possible. So what I thought we could do today together is I want to create a project, and I'm going to explain to you how we create some projects. There's different methods, right? So I've got my new, I've got my clone, but there's a couple of others. But what I want to jump into first is just some information about our roles. So this kind of underpins a lot of the data that's within the account and within the functionality of Mission Control. So a role record are my staff, really. You know, the people that are working for me, the people that are working on projects, they're customer facing. So what I need to do is I need to create a role for them or a position for them that's going to consist of a fair bit of information. And as I said, underpins a lot of the data in there. So when I create a record for an individual, I've got my staff member Alana here. Her job title is a consultant. Alana works about 40 hours per week for me. Okay. And Mission Control looks for this information to make sure that when we're scheduling work for somebody, we're not exceeding that 40 hours. I can then break it down into how many hours per day. So then that resourcing kind of data is going to be a lot more granular because I'm specifying that Alana only works 8 hours in that day period. I mentioned when we were going through the feature wall that we would split, how we charge people between a billable and a cost rate. So, I'm charging my customer $185 per hour for Alana's time, but I'm paying Alana $65 per hour. So I'm going to be able to really have a look at, what my gross, what I'm paying, or like what it's costing me, and then what my profit is going to be. In this section as well, we can control what the individual sees. So there's going to be a page where you'll see that I show you where there's a lot of options that can be chosen. And realistically, when we untick any of these, it's going to remove that view from them. So generally the first rollout option or the first time that somebody implements Mission Control, they're probably not going to have everything there for everybody to see. They're going to have the specific things that we would focus on for the implementation process. And then as they start to progress and use Mission Control, they'll unlock, different parts of functionality. Some other things that I like to point out about the role record is just how we kind of identify and some other data points that Mission Controls looks for when we're thinking of allocating people to work. And that would be the team assignment and the skill assignment. So team assignment really is a way to sort of say, hey, this is where this person works. She's a part of this group. She's at this specific location. So I can see here that I've got Alana, a part of all internal staff. She's based in Australia. She's part of the APAC staff team. She's a consultant, so I want to make sure that I reflect that she's a consultant as well. So if I'm looking for work to fill and I need a consultant, Alana's got hours free, it's going to recommend Alana for that position. And then we can go one step further where we can actually add skills for an individual. Some common ones are language, depending on where you're located, in the globe. We want to be able to make sure if, a specific language is required for this piece of work, we're going to look for that individual. And then you can see here we've got skills as well, which I think is cool. And I've spoken to a customer recently that's in the construction space. They don't have a system that manages kind of licenses and qualifications that have expiry dates. So they're utilizing Mission Control to sort of set expiry dates for licenses and manage that. So very versatile. We work with a whole range of different customers. So role, really important. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're collecting the right information, we're charging our customers correctly, and we're also resourcing the right way. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into an opportunity. And the reason that I want to do it off an opportunity is just to explain, I guess, a different range of ways that we would or we could generate a project. Okay. So the first would be one that's not out of the box. It is like a custom flow that I've built in the back end, but my flow says once this opportunity is considered closed won, or we've marked it as closed won, I want you to generate a project for me based on information that we're collecting from this opportunity. Okay, so that's the first one, which is pretty common when I think about some of our customers. A couple of other ways that we can generate an opportunity is based on the products that we've got on here. So we can see here on the right-hand side, I've got my related list of products. If I was to add, let's say, training hours to my product list, I can attach what we call milestones or tasks to that product. So that means when I'm generating the project, it goes to this product field. It says, okay, I've got 2 times training sessions. So it's going to then create those two tasks or those two milestones on the project record. Okay. And then there's a couple of other ways as well. We can use, a base template plus the products. And yeah, there's a lot of awesome options in there. So what I want to do is I'm actually just going to generate it off an opportunity. We'll do the close one process nice and simple. So I've come to my little section down here, my mission control section. I've specified that I'm going to use opportunity as the generation method. My project start date, I'm going to set it for the 1st of December. What I want to do is I want to have a look at a template. So we'll just use this one, mission control template implementation. And then I'm going to click save on this. Now, when I change this status to close one, give that a couple of seconds to tick over. Alrighty. Now, what it's done in the background is it's generated a project for us. So I'm just going to quickly hit refresh on this. And then you'll notice here on the right-hand side, my projects related list has now populated a project. So I'm going to click on that for me. Oh, and one thing to point out, you can see here, this is what I named the opportunity, and it's actually pulled the opportunity name as a project name. So this was the template I used, so it's obviously very different. And yeah, it's populated the project name with what the opportunity name is. So that's something that we can organize as well. All right, so opening the project up, there's a lot of stuff on here, I know, but all really, really good information. So the first thing that pops up when we click on a project is the Insights tab. Now, the Insights tab is a snapshot of pretty much project status. Okay, we've got who the owner of the project is going to be, what our budget is. As we start to progress through the project, it's going to show how many actions we've completed, so how many line items of the project we've completed. It's going to reflect any overdue actions. A couple of other things as well is we can track our burn down. So as we start to progress and create things like timesheets, our burn down chart is going to change. And we can also have a look to see if any risks or issues have been raised. Then down the bottom, we've got our project's financial and hours data. So any kind of information around what we're charging the customer, and as we're progressing and as we're completing timesheets, it's going to say completed billable value. So that's going to start to update as I create timesheets. And then it's going to show us, what's remaining or what else we can bill the customer. It's going to do the same with hours. So it'll see how many hours are scheduled total. As I create my timesheets, how many hours completed, and then how many hours are remaining as well. And then if you wanted to utilize Mission Control for things like invoicing, we integrate with a lot of financial systems. Well, Salesforce integrates with a lot of financial systems, and because we're native to Salesforce, that's how the connection works. But realistically, we can send data to financial systems to generate invoices, or we can also generate invoices directly through Mission Control. So this is going to show the budget. It's going to show how much we've sent out to be paid, how much has been paid, how much is remaining. So really, really good insights here. Now, in the role record that I mentioned earlier, I showed you those tick boxes that said, hey, being able to view the billing, being able to view the whiteboard. If we untick those, that's going to be removed from this list. So we can really limit what's seen and what's interacted across here. The next thing, which I would say is probably one of the places that a lot of our project managers or people using Mission Control live, is in this overview tab here. So this is how we structure our projects or how we visualize the structure of projects. And there's a couple of different layers to this. So above everything, so above the project, above the opportunity, we have something called a portfolio. Underneath the portfolio, we have what we call programs. And then programs are made up of individual projects, right? So this is an individual project. So let's say, as an example, you've got a large customer, you've got 3 or 4 projects running from them side by side. We would have a program above that, and then you would have your individual projects below. Then to go a little bit further, we then have underneath the project, we have what we call a phase. I don't have a phase in there. Probably should have put one in. But a phase is the overall kind of, different stage of the project structure. Then underneath the phase, we have what we call a milestone. So this is I guess, like probably the most common used work breakdown structure where they start. And you can see here I've got individual milestones, which really is the different pieces of work that I'm doing to make, the implementation go well, and then it'll go to project close once they're all completed. Then what we can do is we can go one step further and have a look at what we call actions. So each individual milestone is made up of individual actions. So I know that for the analysis piece or the analysis milestone, I'm going to have to do a reverse demo just to know what their current process is, have a look at their requirements, maybe do another reverse demo after we've assessed on how to look at their requirements, and then we'll finalize it with like a last requirement session. Then we have solution architecture, and then these are some other actions that work underneath there. Another thing that we can do is we can go one step further underneath an action and add checklist items if you wanted to get that granular. All right, so I've already got some people assigned to this piece of work, but I've just realized now that actually this team. So let's imagine these people that have been assigned are a team. This team right now, they're actually being pushed to another role or another project. So what I want to do is I actually want to update the people that are working here. So the first thing that I can do is I can go on an individual action basis, and I can click this reassignment wizard option, which is just here. And I can go into a little bit more detail about this individual action that we're having a look at. So right now I've got Kelly, my project manager, as the person that owns this action. And then I've got these three people that are working below. So what I want to do is I actually want to search and see if I can find some other individuals that might be available to take over the work from this group. So if I click search on that, I've just put a couple of different teams. So this is a really important piece. The teams on the individual role records. I can get really granular and I can be like, oh, I need everybody to be able to speak English, or I need somebody to be able to speak Spanish, right? So we can get granular skill proficiencies there as well. I'm going to hit the search button. And this is going to give me a list of my employees that, are available or are reflected in a team. So right now I've got Kelly, I've got Beth, I've got Josh, and I've got Kai working on this. I realize that we probably don't need three contributors. We probably only need two at this stage. I've got 2 hours of work assigned to Kelly. So I probably just want to put maybe half an hour there and half an hour there just to kind of take his help him with his capacity. But I've realized that, yeah, Kelly's probably not going to work or be able to work there. So what I'm going to actually do instead is I'm going to go through here and I'm going to I'll assign Mick as a senior consultant because I'm fine with him doing that piece of work. And I can see here, Mick is a little bit busy over this week, but he's not too busy, right? We've got that yellow traffic light system there. Bethany, I'm happy with as a consultant, but I actually realize I need a developer in this stage, so I'm going to put Geordie on there instead, and we'll remove Josh. So this green traffic light system you're going to see a lot of. We're going to go through a tool or a feature called the scheduler. Yeah, we can pretty much set what the tipping point is. So I think for Alana as an example, it's like 85% capacity to go red, 50% capacity to go yellow, and then green is anything below that. So this is going to be a really clear way to see who's available for that piece of work. So I'll hit save on that. So that's one way that we can allocate individuals to projects or individual line items to projects. The next thing that I want to do is I actually want to go and I want to ask Mission Control, is there maybe a better group of people? So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at what we call the auto assignment wizard. This isn't necessarily AI, but really it's like, quick thinking. It's looking for specific data points to make recommendations to you. And we're going to ask it to recommend, and we want to do it based on master team. So I'm going to click this assign button. I've got my cool pal here, Cosmo, going across the conveyor belt. mission controls having a think about who's going to be best to apply to this piece of work. And it's going to give me some different options here. So we can see here that the bulk of the hours that have been assigned at the moment is generally in the two milestone areas. So Bethany at the moment, she's probably not a fit, but I can see Mick is probably the best. These are placeholder roles. So when we're creating templates, we would put placeholder roles to sort of say, hey, I know, generally for implementations, I need a consultant, I need a solutions architect, but I'm not sure who I want to apply just yet. So I've got Mick for that. I'm going to put Kelly on here for the project manager. We'll have a look at maybe Julian instead of Stephanie. We'll probably add, let's just do a placeholder as if it's an employee. And then I'm going to do Kelly again for here, and we'll do Kai for this one. So when I hit assign, what it's going to do is it's now going to go and it's going to assign everybody to different pieces of work. And we can see here as an example, over the course of the project, Mick and Kelly are probably going to be the most busy. And then I've got some other people there as well. All right, so we went through the role records. We've gone through the Insights tab, which is really like a snapshot of all the data. We've had a look at our project overview to explain in a little bit more detail how we structure the projects or how we can break them up. So what I thought we could go through right now is more around the tools that we use to manage our day-to-day. So I mentioned we have a Kanban board, very, very similar to most Kanban boards you would see. And we can actually also customize the different statuses that are at the top here. So we can add custom ones depending on, your needs. The customer that I've got, I mentioned earlier that I spoke to in NZ, they utilize custom, fields for these columns here. So these Kanban cards, very similar to how most Kanbans work. So this one I've got by status. So, it was originally planned. I'm starting to work on that now. I've spoken to the customer for whatever reason. They said, hey, we need to put a pause on this. I can't meet with you this week. We could put it on hold. And then once it's complete, we would put it in that complete section. A couple of other things that you can do with these Kanban cards is we can utilize chatter. So, this is going to be very project specific, action specific. We can see here that I've got a history of what's actually happened. But maybe what I want to do is I want to reach out to Mick, who I know is the project owner. And I just want to say, hey, Mick, I got a call from client. They have pushed back this kickoff. Now, when I post that, it's just exactly the same as the Salesforce charter functionality. That's going to go to the individual and it's going to be relevant to that record. Now, some other things that we can do in here is raise risks. So we can have a look at any issues or risks that have been raised. We can have a look at checklist items. Another thing we can do as well is we can log time. So actually, I might just show you this now. So when I click on this log time, we collect timesheets from individuals as they're progressing through the project. Obviously, we want to make sure that they're doing their work right. And that's also going to impact the financial information that's in the project record. So I'd say this is like a quick launch for logging time. So it's relevant to the action. So you can see here that I've pulled that action record. It's going to default to the date, or we can set that up. I can reflect whether or not my time is billable or non-billable. So, you might have stuff that they're doing, just general admin. We would consider that non-billable. This is not what we're charging the customer for. We would reflect how many hours have been completed, how much of the project has been completed as well. We've also got the statuses here as options. And then once we hit log time, that's then going to create a timesheet for this particular one. So what I might do is I might just create this completed session one. I'll say that I've done, let's say 2 hours of this. It's at 100% completion. We'll go complete. And then when I hit log time, that's then going to create a timesheet for this project. So that's one way that you can create a timesheet. Down the bottom here, I've also got some quick launch options. So you can see here log times an option. Looks pretty much exactly the same as that previous page that we were in. It's going to pull the project record that we're on, but you can see here because I haven't specified an action, I can go in and I can select my action that I'm logging time for. Alrighty, so a couple of other status columns that we've got as well. Maybe we want to have a look at it by action owner. So we're moving actions between different individuals if we're trying to reallocate work. And maybe action type could be an option as well. So that's a Kanban board. The next one that I like to go through is the Gantt chart. And this is just another way really to visualize a project. I would say a lot of our customers really like our Gantt chart, being able to see things against a timeline. It's interactive. And also any changes that I make on the Gantt chart, any changes that I make on the whiteboard, that's going to roll up into the platform, into the project. So, everything is kind of connected in the back end. Now, on my Gantt chart, a couple of things that we will notice is on the left-hand side, similar to my overview tab, I've got my work breakdown structure. So I can expand and collapse this. So having a look at it as just a project, I can potentially move it if the project's been shifted. I might need to move individual action milestones. And you can see here that that's linked. It's got like a kind of a passive dependency at the top there. And then when I go to my next step, I've got my actions underneath as well. So things that we can do on the Gantt chart is we can create dependencies. So as an example, this reverse demo one that we're looking to complete, which is pretty serious, right? We need to make sure that we understand our customers' needs, what their current process is. We want to try to match that. But for some reason, I wasn't able to do it in that week. I had to do it the week after, right? Because I've created these dependencies, and I need to technically do this before any of this work is completed. I've created these dependencies so everything moves together with that in there. We can export the Gantt chart as well. So there's a couple of different options, PDF, CSV, PNG. We also do Microsoft projects as well. So there's a lot of, nice exportable options. And then some quick actions as well. You can see here that I can log time again, right? We've got many places where you're able to log time. We can also do things like go into the individual action. And this is going to give us like an edit option, or it's going to give us information about the action in more detail. So if we need to make changes, maybe the start date, maybe we want to exclude this from the Gantt chart actually, a lot of different options in there as well. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to quickly show you is just time logs. So earlier I made one, I kind of submitted one timesheet. I've done 2 hours in there. Then it wasn't non-billable. But you can see here, this is the chart that was on my Insights tab, that it says that I've completed 2 hours and I've got 344 hours remaining. So really, really clear, awesome data. As people start to put their timesheets in, it's going to impact the amount of hours that's been scheduled. And then it can also impact, the different, I guess like the different charges or the invoices that we can charge people with. Okay, so I mentioned earlier as well that we have resource, so being able to allocate resources, making sure that we are assigning people to work when they've actually got the capacity. We're not over assigning work to them. So the next thing that I want to show you is what we call the scheduler. So this is probably one of my favorite tools or objects within the Mission Control platform. And I think the reason being is I've got a full visibility across what people are doing, and a need, if I need to reschedule stuff or I need to put somebody else on a piece of work, I'm able to do it from this scheduler as well. So there's a couple of different views in the scheduler. This view that I'm looking at is by action. And what I can do by action as well is I can see here as an example, Colin, I know Colin's working on this at the moment, but I actually want to get Gabriel to do this piece of work. You can see that I can easily reassign that piece of work to Gabriel from Colin. And then that's going to update, Colin's capacity and his data. So a really nice way to visualize who's working on what. You can see up here as an example, Alana, she's very busy. She's running numerous projects at the moment, right? She's probably not a person that I'm going to allocate more work to over this period of time. It blocks out weekends. We can change it if you do, weekend work. And another thing that it does is it can track holidays. So if there are any holidays or somebody's on a holiday for a period of time, it's going to show up in the scheduler that that individual is not available, so that we're not, assigning work to them. Another thing that I like to kind of look at when I look at the scheduler as well is just the amount of hours that a person has been allocated to. So when we were looking at the assignment wizard that I showed you, had a bit of like a traffic light system, red, yellow, green, very similar kind of functionality. But this is a very high level overview of how many hours a person's been allocated. So I've got a day's view at the moment. We've got different options as well, like a week view as well. So as an example, I can see for Alana, cool, the week of the 24th, she's actually okay. I should be able to assign work to her, but I can see here as an example, the week of the 1st of December, she's been assigned 45 hours of work, right? Now, Lana's role record said 40 hours max. So what we would probably do in this instance is we would have a look at what Alana is doing for that period of time and see if we can then reassign a little bit of work for her. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get Bethany to do this instead. Uh, let's also get her to do this one as well. Let's do this one too. And you can see here that her hours are starting to reduce for that week. So this is going to be a really, really good way for you to assign people to work. Let's say as an example, you've got a project that's upcoming. We would create the project based on the dates that's in there. So then if I'm looking to assign Alana to that, anything that week, I'm going to be able to see, yeah, that she's obviously already assigned to something there. All right, so scheduler, awesome functionality. We've got hours total there. We can have a look at financials as well if we wanted to, where it's going to give us the different costs of the different charges that's going out for that individual. And again, this is going to be based on their role record. So our billable rate is considered, our cost rate is considered. Okay, just give that a second. Been having some issues with my data today, but that's all right. We can come back to that piece. So I mentioned earlier that there is a master whiteboard and a master Gantt chart. Okay. Now, the master whiteboard and Gantt chart is a place to be able to use those tools, but to be able to see multiple projects at one given time. So the one that we went through was specific to the project because I was looking at the Gantt chart and the whiteboard, the Kanban view in that project specifically. But maybe I want to have a look at, what projects are my team are working on at the moment outside of, just that individual one. So what I can do is I've got a whole bunch of settings that I can use, and I can still interact with these different projects. And we've actually got sort of like interconnectivity between separate projects when it comes to dependencies as well. So as an example, I might want to say this particular milestone, I know that I've got Josh working on that. So I'd like to connect these together because I know he's working on these two projects. I'm actually going to push that out a week so then it marries up. And then let's say, for example, I had to reschedule this piece of work for Josh that week. If I move that across, that's also going to change or it's going to shift the other project that he's working on as well. So we're making sure that we're not doubling up and that, yeah, we're really managing Josh's time properly. And then same with the whiteboard as well on the Gantt chart, the master whiteboard as well. We can see here that I've got my different employees at the top, all the different actions that they're working on at the moment. We can do status as well. So we can see here that I've got my plan in progress completed. And then I might want to go in and I might want to actually update some statuses from here. And these are pulling from all different projects. So you've got here the Express Logistics. This one's my Billabong webinar. I've got my, GennyLab point generators. So this is going to be that master view for everybody to be able to look into. And then the last thing that I was going to cover today is just a little bit more information about our timesheets. So I speak to a lot of customers and current customers, and they always tell me that there's massive pain points around timesheets. It's pretty common. I remember in past roles as well that I've had, I always used to forget to do my timesheets. But I think the way that Mission Control does it and having everything that they're working on in the one place generally encourages people to complete them. So right now, I'm looking at the timesheet section as myself. And for this week period, I can see that I'm only working on two things at the moment. So these are two projects that require pretty much all of my attention. And then as I'm progressing, when I complete specific days, I go in and I can then reflect, how many hours I've completed for that particular piece of work. So I did 4 hours on Monday for the technical development, and then I've done another four for the need analysis section. I can click into these boxes as well to log any notes, raise any issues, update any checklist items, reflect if it's considered overtime. So this is the other timesheet section that I showed you. You can see it's very similar functionality, but the detail or the most detail is coming from this page here. Another one that I like on the timesheet as well is if you want to get really accurate information, I've got this stop start timer. So when I click start on this, it's going to start ticking in the background, and then I come back once I've finished a piece of work, and then that's going to create a very accurate timesheet record for me there. Now we've got an approval process with timesheets as well. So let's say I submit my timesheet for approval, we would specify who that goes to. Could be the project owner, could be that person's direct line manager, kind of up to you how you want that to go. And then the last piece as well on the timesheets is something that we call a calendar converter. Now, I don't have my calendar integrated with this at the moment, but we can actually connect to Google Calendar and Outlook, which will then populate the different meetings that they've had, which I can then associate with an action, and then I can actually log time from here as well, which is sometimes a choice of the project managers there. Alrighty, so that's pretty much all that we were planning on going through today. Um, I I work, as I mentioned, I'm based in Australia, but I do manage the West Coast of America as well and all of APAC. So if anybody's got any questions, if you want to get in contact with us, there's going to be an email that goes out to everybody that joined and everybody that couldn't join, just with details. But yeah, I would be your point of contact with any kind of questions, and if you're interested in bringing Mission Control on board. And we do offer a trial period. I did have a slide about it, but it's not in this deck. But we do have a 14-day trial. If you did want to jump pretty much into the App Exchange and click the Get It Now button, you can install the Mission Control package into either your sandbox or into your production. I'll get notified that you've done that. I'll reach out, and yeah, we'd be happy to set that up with you. But yeah, awesome. Thank you all for joining. And yeah, hopefully speak to you soon.